we've gotten to so far. I've cleaned up our image. Um, we've just have, we just have a much more neater image to work with now. So even if I do hide my reference image and my base image, I can easily build on that. The only thing I'll probably add is just fix up the eyes, just minor details throughout, but we can always edit that as we go. Okay, so what I want us to do is just to make this line a little bit more thicker. So I'm just going to duplicate that by dragging it down, and I'll merge the two layers down. So Control E. So that's a little bit darker. I'm happy with that. Just rename that so I know this is my line layer. So that's my line layer, and I want to duplicate this line layer again, and I want to change that to color layer. So I just moved it underneath the line layer. So I'll change that to color. Oops. Oh wow. Alright, so that's your color layer. So like I said before, the order in which you do have this would kind of impact how you'll see your final product. Okay, so if you decided to continue on adding color in the previous tutorial, that's perfectly fine. This is will be us just adding some color to our character. So now that our line's a little bit neater, it's easier to fill in the colors that we want, and it's not that much extra work that we need to do. So just for this tutorial, I'll probably do my character's vest. Then once I've done that, I'll let you guys carry on, and I'll speed up the video from there. Okay, so I'm not too sure that the base color for the character's vest could possibly change later on, but at least the principles will be the same. So I want to go on to G, shortcut key to the bucket tool, and you can access your bucket tool over here. Make sure it's selected to bucket. You don't want any of these selected, so make sure the dot is at paint bucket tool. Make sure your color layer is selected, and all you do is just fill that color in with the color that you want. So I'm going to use almost like cell shading with this one, so I'm only going to have a few shadings on it. I'll just have a shadow, the base color, and a highlight. That's just the style that I want. But if you want to add more gradient to your work, you can just add gradient to it instead of just color filling it. But that's my method. Alright, so I have that. I need to also remember where my light source is. So just for this tutorial, I'll make sure that the light source is coming from that direction, so from behind the character, and that's where my light source will be. So I'll quickly delete that. I'll zoom in, and just before I add any more, before I start my shadows and my light, I just want to fix up all these small areas where you can see that there's a bit of gray. So all I'll do is just go in, make sure I've color picked the right color. So all you need to do is hold on Alt, you'll have that color picker, and we'll pick the right color. And I just want to quickly clean my work up. To be honest, this is nowhere near how much cleaning you would need to do with your more feathered outline, which is why I preferred just working with the lines first, or cleaning up my lines, then adding color. Alright, so there's not too much that I've touched on that. Then what I want to do is create two layers. So I'll just click on twice. My first layer, I'll name that highlight. I completely misspelled that one. Alright, so highlight, then next one I'll name that shadow. Alright, so that's pretty self-explanatory. In the shadow layer, I'll make sure I add some shadows. In the highlight layer, I want to make sure I add some highlights. Alright, so I'll select my color layer again. I want to use my quick or my selection tool, my magic wand tool. So either one would work. So since we've used magic wand, we'll use quick selection. So quick selection just literally allows us to select specific objects, and it'll actually expand. So once I've selected my object from my color layer, I want to go onto the shadows. And since the light is coming from this side, it would be casting a shadow on the opposite side. So with that selected, I want to go back to my pen tool, click on pen tool, and I want to draw in, or use my pen tool to draw in the shadows. So I'm going to quickly draw in the area where I feel like there would be a highlight, a shadow. Alright, so this will all depend on your image that you're working on. So for this example, this is how I'll draw my one in. Okay. Alright, so I know that on anything on the opposite side of this, I haven't closed it, but I know that this is where I want my selection to cut off. So I don't need to be as particular as I go around the highlighted area or my selected area. Connect your tool together, your path together. You want to right click. Right, you want to go back to this tab where it says make selection. You want to make selection, make sure your feather is turned to 0. If you want to have some gradient to your selection, then you can change up the feather and it will give you a little bit of gradient as you paint in the color. But since I want a hard line, I'll leave it as this. So in this selection tool, you have operation down here. So it just gives an instruction of what we want to do. So if I wanted to add a selection, I'll click on add, subtract, or intersect. So what I want us to do, I want us to subtract this selection. So the only thing that's selected is the area where I'm highlighted. So I'll make sure selection or subtract from selection is marked or ticked. Click on that and immediately you see that it's added that section there. So now I can just paint that. So I'll click on my brush tool, which is B. I'll color pick again just to make sure I have the right color, and I'll just make that a little bit darker based on the base color already. Make that bigger, and I'll just paint in my highlight. Alright, so I'll deselect that, so that's looking a little bit better. I can carry on using this method. I might add a little bit of a highlight there as well. So I'll repeat the same process if I want, which I probably would. But now I just want to quickly add in the highlight before I even add that. So I'll go back to my color, magic wand tool, which is W, and select that. We'll go on to the highlight layer, and now we'll repeat the process, pen tool, and we'll just draw in where we feel like a highlight will be cast off. Alright. Alright, so this is where we'll leave it. Instead of actually using the subtraction tool, I wanted to go to make selection. And I want to see what another option would do. So we used subtract before. Now we want to just click on intersect and see what happens. So now we've intersected it and it's still left us with that highlighted layer. So this is, the more you guys will do it, the easier it will become. Your workflow will increase much more. I'll select the base color by color picking it, then I'll make this lighter. And all I need to do is color in my selected area. Deselect that, and that's a starting point. So I'll add in highlights where I need to, and I'll add in shadows where I need to. So I'll let you guys get on with that, and I'll quickly fast forward the video.